Hi, it's Sandy Parker, and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. Today we're going to look at the Simon Says stamp kit for, I guess it was September. I'm hoping that's right. Might have been August, but I think it was September. I hope you'll stay tuned. So the first thing I wanted to show you is what you get. Of course, I ripped it all apart already, but I figured you would be okay with that. You got this pad. It's a double-sided pad of papers, and they're kind of distressed. I like them. Then, and that was in there too, and it has some of the ones you can make a card out of by just cutting this piece out. Then you got a stamp set that looks like this. Hopefully you can see it, and it's called Look for the Rainbows. Their set is $34.99, I'm pretty sure, but this alone is $26.99. I'm also pretty sure. Then you got a 3D texture fade, which is a 3D embossing folder, and I'll show you what it creates. It looks like that. Really pretty, kind of like prisms. And then there was a lot of mirror paper. Not a lot, maybe 6 pages. And of course they give you ideas. Then they give you some full-size pieces of cardstock and some envelopes, plus these little enamel dots and these teeny tiny little, they're called crystal gems, which if you saw my videos for my nephew's wedding, I bought a load of those from AliExpress for in his memory box. So if you want to get the links for how I found some good deals there, you can find them in that video. I'll link it somewhere here. Okay, so this is the Arteza set of 60 watercolors. This is only half of them. They're in tubes, and I decanted them in another video into these boxes that snap shut. And I thought what I would do is I would take Seaweed, which is this darkest color in the back, and we'd get the brush wet with it. I'm going to try and get that out of the way because I don't think you really care about the box that much. And then I have under here a plastic piece that I can make a big mess on. You've seen this a few times, especially when I do my journal. I always like to stick that in my art journal. And I'm going to make sure my brush is really well wet. Wet? Well wet? I don't know. It's wet. That's all I'm saying. And then I'm just going to use it and kind of make sure that my paper isn't as dark as that. I want it to be a little darker, but not that super dark. I cut this down to 4 3/4 inches by 6 3/4. No, that's a lie. 4 7/8 by 6 7/8. I don't know why I'm so concerned about the middle, because no one's going to see the middle. But there is our background paper, and again, I'm letting that sit aside to dry. Then this is the cardstock we're going to use. So now what I want to do is I want to color my 5x7 cardstock with, and this is Recollections 110 pounds from Michaels. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to put it like this inside there, so the back hopefully doesn't get all yucky. And I only have to color basically the very edges, because we're not going to be using it's going to be covered up. Everything else is going to be covered up. In case I didn't say that properly. You're not going to see anything but these edges. So then what I did was I stamped this pattern. Push this off to the side right there. What I did with this is I stamped it, and then I embossed it with clear embossing powder. I stamped it with Brutus Monroe's black detail Raven ink, and then I used just clear embossing powder so that we'd have it all nice and finished. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use alcohol markers. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about my new Arteza alcohol markers. I'm going to get this box out of the way. If you use watercolors, make sure you don't close the box until these are dry, or else they'll get moldy on you, and you don't want that to happen. back to my color about the Arteza markers. So one of my viewers sent me a note and she said, man, there's a really great color chart on Mary, I'm going to put this up close, Palenko Designs. Mary, if I said that wrong, I'm sorry. So I went to Mary's YouTube channel and I found where she made these charts. What she did that was really smart was she put them in the way they would, in the order that they would blend. So now all you have to do is you can look at your own, I created this. She made the black and white part. Then you're going to take your markers and color in these, and she put them in the order that they would blend. And I thought that was really smart, and I thought all of you would benefit from it. So if you want to go to Mary Palenko Designs, you'll find her information. But you know, I put all this at the bottom. I don't know why I keep telling you things, but because, you know, clearly I put it all at the bottom. So what I thought I would do is, using Mary's chart, I would pick the colors that I want my flowers to be, and then we would kind of come up with a plan from there. And since I chose this kind of peachy, weird, well, you know, it's the green that made it that weird. But anyway, since I went with that, I thought I would do something with maybe some peach tones or some of these colors in there. Not sure which way I want to go. I don't know. I'm going to think of a plan here in a second as far as colors go. And of course, we need our greens. Now, greens for me are easy when it comes to leaves, because I only like to have these green tones. I don't like the green tones that have like a bluish cast to it. I only like these. So I need to get those two out, and we'll do leaves first. And the Arteza 120 count markers come in, hold on and I'll open it up so you can see it. It looks like this, and what I did was I put them, or I tried to put them, in the color order that Mary has these. So I went A, 942, and 543. 543 and 942. So I want these two. The 120 count Artezas come in this really nice case. Really nice. Super easy to work with, but heavy as anything, because, you know, it's got 120 markers in it. I did want to remind you that whenever you buy anything from Arteza from my website, I don't make any money from Arteza. They just give me the products, but they do give me a 10% off on their whole website for all of you. So if you were thinking of buying something from Arteza, anytime I put up a video of theirs, I normally have a discount code with it. So the discount code will be written right in this area somewhere. And there we go. So let me go back to this sheet that I'm working on. I'm going to punch it with my corner rounder. As you all know, this is my absolute favorite product in the whole world. I don't get any money. I don't get any product for this. I just love it. It's the Katomaru Pro corner rounder. It has 3 sizes, and you get it on Amazon, and I love it. It works really well for me. And for those of you who have trouble with your wrists or hands and you don't have a lot of strength, this just has such a nice rounding. You don't get that weird kind of, I don't know, I can't explain it. You know what I'm talking about if you have trouble with your hands, where you can't seem to get a corner rounder to work the way you want it to. Okay, this one, because my paper's wet, it's not as perfect as it normally would be. There we go. If I would have waited for my paper to dry. Okay, so this paper is still drying. No problem, because we'll have forever for me to color all this in. Then we're going to work on this. I'm going to do my leaves first, and I'm going to use this lighter green 942 and then 543 as my secondary color. This strip means it's the smaller tip, and so you know when you open your markers up that's going to be the littler of the two. And I like to color all of my greens at one time and go back over with the darker tones. But I wanted to remind you that if you're playing with reds or purples, you need to blend at the same time you're doing your first color, because if you don't do all your colors at once with reds and purples, you'll really struggle to get them to blend. So that's just a tip for you. I think that's where I'm going to stop with that color. Then I'm going to go in with my little darker tone, and this one again is 543. And I'm just going to do kind of the areas where there might be a little shading. Then I'll go back over it with the other tone to make sure that they blend out. Everybody does alcohol marker coloring in their own ways, I think, and this is how I do it. Now I have a little green spot, I went outside the line there. I'll have to use a color blender to make that go away. Colorless blender, sorry, color blender. I'll just make it up as I go. The embossing powder will try and help you keep within the line, so if you have a little trouble with shakiness, use embossing powder and heat set it, and that should help you to stay where you want to be. I'm going to put little dots at the end of these so that they have some shading. I don't know why I think they need it, but that's what I'm going to do. Let's see, these ones need little dots on them. Okay. Then I need to just go back over everything with the lighter tone, and this will make sure that everything is blended out. Next we're going to do some of our flowers, and I think with these ones I'm going to primarily do with these two tones. It's 9425, which is peach, and then the other one is 2497. So I'm just going to go in with this. I think the peach will look nice with that background peachy color. Back over it with the lighter. Maybe I'll do the center with this darker one. 9421 Desert Sand. I don't know if it'll look good or look bad or whatever. Might have to go even darker. Might want to go with a brown from that center. Let me grab a brown. How about 2494? I'm going to do some yellows, I think, on the other flowers. And I'm also going to go over them with a Wink of Stella, so I have some really pretty glitter on this. And this is the centers I talked about in this brown. And then let me go in with, this one is 9433 for these little flowers. Then last is going to be this 9432. It's a little darker yellow. It's going to be what we're going to do some of our lines and shadows with. And back over them with the lighter yellow. Okay, and then the last thing we're going to do is our bird, and I'm going to do that as a bluebird. And I don't want to do something really crazy, so I think I'll do A267, A266. Okay. Now, the very last thing I want to do, I like the idea of having some splatter on here, so I have this weird little abstract thing that I'm going to find and make some dots on there just to give it some interest in the background. Next, I've got this really old stamp that splotches. I'm sure some of you have one of these. It just looks like this, and this one is from All Night Media. It's 369J. I doubt if it's still in production, but pretty much every company has a splotch stamp, and I'm all about the splotches. I'm trying not to splotch into the flowers, but if I do splotch a little bit, I'm okay with that. And I'm going to definitely try not to splotch our little fella. But these things do happen, as you know. Sometimes you just splotch the heck out of it. There we go. I think that'll do it, except for right there. All right, so that's our front of our card. I used Distress Ink Mode Lawn for that one. I think I want to put some kind of ribbon or something on that. I don't know what. And this I have to dry, so let me dry this and then we'll come back. So my plan is we're going to put this on there and then that on the darker green like that. So there's a lot of texture in this embossing folder, so you're going to need to put either wet glue and tear tape or something like that on there. But I like to, when I'm doing anything with tear tape, I like to also include some wet glue, because that makes sure that you're going to end up having the ability to move it if you have to. So I put it the whole length around the outside, and then I put it in the inside just as a precautionary measure, because you know I could screw this up in a heartbeat, and after you put all this work into it, you really don't want to do that. So this is my first layer, and I'm just going to put this really close to the edge. Just push it all down to make sure it lasts, stays in place. Don't forget, we're going to, ooh, well, that green just smeared off there. We're going to have layers, so it's not going to be that big a deal to, you're not going to see a lot of that, is what I'm trying to get to the point of. And we're going to put this layer in the center of that. Oh, I forgot to put wet, I want to put some wet glue on this because of that, as I said, you have all this texture on here, and there's a good chance that if you don't put a little wet glue in here, there's so little of the actual area that's touching your background. You want to make sure you got something that's going to hold it in place. So that's what I'm doing with the wet glue. That's the plan anyway. Let's see. Yeah, that looks about as even as I'm going to get it. Remember, you're going to make sure you want to push down all of your edges to hold it in place. Then I took the backing off of this so that you could see how I'm going to put it on this. What I want to do first, though, is I want to show you how I'm going to do my ribbon. When I do ribbon, I have a heck of a time putting knots on it. So here's what I like to do. Before I put it on the back of the front of my project, what I like to do is I take it, and I probably cut too small of a piece to do this, but I'm going to try and show it to you anyway. Because my fingers don't bend like everybody else's, I can't do things the same way as everybody else, so this is how I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do that, and then I can play with it once it's attached to the, to the front of the card. But at least this way, I've got it in place where I want it, and then I can cut it down. Follow that? So I can just do this, and then we will I need to cut some of this off though because it's really long. I didn't need it to be this long. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do with this. On this side over here, I'm just going to put a little bit of my tear tape on the back. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to wrap it like that. I'm going to hold this tight and wrap it like that, and it should be pretty straight. Then if you want to make sure that it's going to really stay where you have it, you could also put a glue dot underneath this, but before I get that far, I'm going to attach this to this piece because, oh, I'm going to put some wet glue on this too. I just want to make sure this doesn't come apart in the mail because there's so many layers, and as I said, there's a lot of stuff going on here. So if you put some wet glue on it, okay, let's hold that like that. I just want to make sure that that was fun foam, by the way, if you didn't know what I was doing there. Okay, there's that, and again, a little bit of wet glue. I like to make sure this part is really got gobs of glue on it. I should have used a hot glue gun for this because of all that embossed front area. Okay, so let's see if that looks good. I don't have it pushed down so I can move it a little bit or a lot. No, still not where I want it. Is it right now? Then when you're doing your knot, since I only did one like one knot, I could do a double knot on this, but I think it'll stay this way just fine. But I want to keep kind of twisting it so I get it the way I like it. And then I think I'm going to go that way with these, and then I'm going to go. Well, that didn't want to play, did it? Okay, that was much better, wasn't it? And that. So then it looks like a bow, even though it's not a bow. You see that? So I used some Wink of Stella on the bird and on the flowers, and then I stamped my envelope with some birdies that are from the Secret Garden set from Peg Stamps. I put all this information down below, as you know. Don't forget that you'll get a 10% discount from Arteza if you're interested in any of their products. And I hope that you enjoyed this, that you give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and please tell your friends about me on social media because you know I love that. And thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.